Hello, everyone, and thank you again for joining me to share some what I believe are important topics about what's up in Kansas City. I want to once again say thank you to Mr. Nelson for giving me this opportunity at Cascade Media, and please support our Black-owned digital media, Cascade Media. Please do that in whatever form you see fit, because it's important to be able to have a voice, unrestricted voice. So thank you again, and I want to thank God for giving me this opportunity to share some things with you and for having so much support in the community. I don't take it for granted. And I want to start with you with some sad news. We had a deputy that joined us April 11th of this year. He passed away yesterday. It was non-duty related. We believe it was health related. An autopsy hasn't been conducted yet. But Champion, Marcus Champion died yesterday. He was transported by EMS from his residence to the hospital in Excelsior Springs, and he was pronounced deceased after they worked on him for a while. So if you could just have thoughts and prayers for Marcus. Marcus was a former Excelsior Springs police officer. If you want to see Marcus, when he was on video, if you could just Google Deputy Marcus Champion, and it'll come up with some video where he was at a scene when he was Excelsior Springs with their police department, and he talked about partial collapse of a building, and he was on the television on several news stations a year or so ago. So if you want to see Marcus, again, we're with his family in prayer and whatever they need. And a few other things I'll talk about today. As you all are probably aware, a new chief has been selected, Stacy Graves. Outstanding person. I worked with her when I was at the police department. She was actually my aide at one time when I was police chief. And when you see her and as she moves about the city, you'll probably recognize her. She was in media for several years, did an outstanding job, excellent communication skills, 25-year veteran, had a number of assignments, and currently she's the interim deputy chief, or she was the interim deputy chief of the Patrol Bureau, and they're in charge of every division station, including traffic. The vote was unanimous by the board and is normally unanimous. I think the first time I've seen a vote that wasn't unanimous is for the former chief. It wasn't unanimous by two commissioners came out publicly and said they didn't want the former chief at the time. But since my tenure at the police department, or when I was at the police department for 31 years or so, I believe every vote for a chief, the Board of Police Commissioners came out and said it was unanimous. So that's good. I'm excited about the future of Kansas City. Stacy has excellent interpersonal skills. She grew up in Wyandotte County, graduated, I believe, in Wyandotte County school district over there. Just a great person. And you'll see, and if you didn't see the town hall meeting on Saturday, we had a group that was disruptive for, and I think they had a valid reason when they were expressing their opinion about some things. That's why people die trying to get to the United States, because they can't express their opinion in most cases with no pushback. Stacy handled that well. Our commissioner, Bishop Talbert, Mark Talbert, he was gaining order, and Stacy said some things that she was listening as people were screaming. She was saying, "I hear you. I'm listening to you," and that's how she was. She wasn't putting on the show. That's how she is, and she listens and she cares, and you all see that. And let me tell you this too, briefly. There's a lot of things people expect from a chief, which you should have high expectations, but they're dealing with politics, personalities, legal issues. Just so many different things they have to make decisions based on, or at least consider. They don't have to make decisions based on that. So just know one person, I don't care who it is, who they selected, this time or next time, is not going to change everything. You got to go in there when you start talking about changing the culture and going in a different direction in some topics and things. It's going to be difficult, and no one knows what it's like to sit in that seat till you actually in the seat. It's easy to sit back and talk about, well, I would do this, and why did he or she do that? And I'll bring this up even with the process. There was a lot of people making comments about the process should be extended and all this stuff. All that's going to happen when they extend it, they still going to pick who they think is the best qualified candidate based on what they've seen, not what everybody's telling them. So why prolong it? And I know people, and again, people have an opinion, and that's good because we're an American, you can do that. But you prolong it, and they still going to pick who they want to. And in this case, I think they picked the best candidate that I know, because I know Stacy, and I know she'll be a great chief. and again, she's responsive. Excuse me. She's responsive. She's caring. She's dedicated, and she understands the different cultures. And that, to me, is very important for a chief. You have to understand the community that you police, and she understands other segments of the community. She understand what goes on internally. So, again, let's give her a chance, like you've given everyone else a chance, especially me. I mean, like I said, I appreciate the support. And Stacy is the first permanent female chief. I know people saying she's the third, but we had two interim chiefs, Deputy Chief Rachel Whipple and Cheryl Rose. They were both interim chiefs for short periods, but it's different, I believe, when you're sitting there and you know you're going to be the chief and long term. But they did a great job also. Let me see what else I can tell you about Stacy. She's just caring. I can't say enough about her. If you watch the forum, and I watched the entire town hall meeting, she did well, and she wasn't performing. That's her. You saw the real Stacy. She's authentic. So I know she'll be able to do some things for our community. But just remember, just because you have one person at the head of that organization doesn't mean it's going to save the world. She'll make a difference. Don't get me wrong, and she should. But there's still going to be some things that we need to work on when she leaves and when the next chief leaves and those kind of things. And she'll be learning as she go, like most of us do, because you never know what it's like until you sit in that seat. And a couple of things she'll be faced with. We already know about the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division investigating the I say corrupt hiring practices and unfair disciplinary actions and all those kind of things, and transfers that don't happen, that probably should happen with people of color. So she's faced with that, jumping right into this thing. And also she's faced with the whistleblower accusations. They have a former attorney that was just fired recently that made allegations about evidence being withheld by the police department and public records requests being denied for that were unlawful, according to this attorney's opinion, based on what's out there. And let me caution you all on this. Just because there's an allegation doesn't make it true. I've had numerous allegations against me throughout my career. I didn't get a lot of them when I was coming up, but when I became appointed chief, there's all kind of allegations because you make the final decision, so your name's on everything. So, and it should be, and you get the blame for it, which you should be. If you signed up for it, that's part of it. So don't jump to conclusions because, again, there's always employees that when they leave for whatever reason have access to grind. So just be cautious about jumping to conclusions. A law firm has been hired by the Board of Police Commissioners to look into this. They could have used the U.S. Attorney's Office. They could have used the Department of Justice, who's already investigating, but they elected to use a law firm. So again, don't indict an entire police department because there might be some wrongdoing. Again, it might be, but it's not unusual for people to make a complaint and accuse people of wrongdoing, because I sat in that seat before and I got a lot of it. We can't stop litigation in most cases. In my case, even as sheriff of Jackson County, I just don't want it to be true. I can't stop it. I just don't want it to be true, and then we'll just go through the process. And let me see what else we'll talk about real quick. Another thing about the chief, people had questions about why Rick Smith was allowed to stay so long and they didn't fire him. There's a state statute about termination of chief of police. And if you look that up, again, it's a state statute. If you look that up, it has to be cause to fire chief of police. And that came in effect when I was chief of police. And I understand why it's in effect because when oftentimes some of these smaller jurisdictions, when they get a new mayor, city manager, whatever, their platforms will fire the chief and reduce crime. So to stop all of that, or a lot of that, the legislature got together and they passed this law where you can only fire a chief in Missouri for a cause. So they can't just come in randomly and fire a chief in the state of Missouri. And that's kind of odd and it's unusual. I don't know any other states that have that, but that's some law that they passed probably 2013, 2014. So when people were wondering why the former chief wasn't fired for whatever reason, and again, we all make mistakes. I'm not saying anything bad about him because you can look at my record. I made some mistakes too when I was in there. So again, pray for our new chief and know that she will face challenges, but I'm confident that she'll rise up to the occasion like she always has when I work with her. Let me see if there's anything else I want to say about uh, um, Chief Graves. I believe she'd be sworn in today, which is Thursday. If the what I read in the media is correct, she was going to be sworn in today. Uh, Let me see what else we'll talk about. I want to spend a little time on the selection process. I've had questions about that, and it's really easy to sit back and talk about to sit back and talk about what the board should do. And I probably got more questions in the last 2 weeks or comments about this, even though I'm not a part of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. I attended the town hall meeting, like I said, so I wouldn't be disrupted in the beginning. I watched it on YouTube at first, and then when they had a break, I went inside. But a lot of people thought that maybe they should have a lot more input. And like I said before, and I just want to make this clear, like I said before, you can have input, but the board, five people, they're looking at resumes, they're looking at plans that have been submitted and those sorts of things. So they have to make the decision based on that. And if they would have picked candidate number two, the guy from New Jersey that was up second to give his interview, his public interview, they would have picked him. It would have been some people not happy. If they would have picked the guy from Philadelphia, it would have been some people not happy. So again, the board, they have to do what they think in the best interest of Kansas City. And they know, and I know they know Stacy because she's been at meetings, regular monthly meetings, board meetings for years. So they have to know what she's about. They have to know what she's capable of. And again, I can tell you from deep down in my heart that I've worked with her. She's been fair. She's been 100% fair. Every decision I've seen her make, every recommendation I've seen her make while she's working with me, she gets it. I mean, she's very intelligent, high energy, excellent communicator, as you can see if you remember her representing our media unit at many scenes, homicides, and other critical incidents. She's just well-rounded. So I'm excited about the future of Kansas City. But again, don't think one person is going to go in there and change the whole world overnight. You know, she'll definitely make a difference. But Chief Graves is not going to do everything everyone wants her to do. So I'm saying be patient, be supportive, and she'll be able to take criticism when criticism comes up. And we should be criticized. We work for the public, and I believe she has a really good understanding of our community, excellent understanding of our community because she's been out there before. Like I said, and I think the exposure in media, where she's been out all over the parts of towns, part of town, and she just does a phenomenal job. She's fair, and I believe that the area she was raised in, where diversity is important. And so she understands. And I think what we've lacked in law enforcement at many levels, many don't understand the culture that they police. They don't understand. And that's kind of like a business owner not understanding the customers. We've never had to understand our customers until some things happen in the last 5-6 years or so, where the public's coming out and they demanding reform. And I think Stacy, Chief Graves, is a reformer. I believe she's not going to be afraid to change some things. I believe she's not going to be afraid to challenge some things. I believe she'll be out in the community as much as possible, realizing, and I'm hoping she keep a balance between her home life and chief of police job, because you can get consumed by that. You have to put in a lot of time. You're not going to be compensated for everything that you do, but you have to find time to step back so you can reflect on some things and just re-energize. So I'm hoping she'll do that. And I know our Kansas City, Missouri Police Department is headed in the right direction. We have great people in the police department that we don't often hear about. I shared last time some of the positive things that they're doing. I will continue to share some things about our local law enforcement, because all our metro agencies have great people, and I believe we have great leadership. So I'll share some of those things too. I don't want to get on here on a regular basis and talk about what's bad about us, what's negative, but I'll tell you the truth. We have some things that we need to do and clean up, but we are doing some things that are great too. And I'll give you another example. With the death of Marcus deputy champion yesterday, we had so many people immediately stand up and say, what can I do? Even our funeral coordinator, she's never done this before. I talked to her today. She said, I've never done it before, but I want to help. So she's doing those kind of things. And I can tell you positive example over positive example where we just do so many things where we don't uh, put it out there publicly. And a lot of people don't want it known publicly. They just do it every day because this is a ministry to them. And I don't share this with a lot of people, but I believe in faith-based policing. We've had community policing, problem-oriented policing, which is fine, which is fine. But from when I first started, because I knew God put me here for a reason when they wouldn't hire me the first time. And had they hired me when I was 21, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today because from the time I turned, at the end of 22, going on 23, I matured a little bit, probably not as much as I needed to, but that helped me when I was hired. Never been in trouble on the job. Never ever been in trouble. The police department, not a single bit of trouble. Not that I didn't do anything wrong, but I was around some people said, Darrell, you need to do something different. Whether I'm driving fast or something like that. Never mistreated anybody. So again, I want to say thank you to the community out there for supporting me this long. And before I close, I want to once again say thank you to Cascade Media, the Black-owned digital media. Uh, we have to support them because without that, we wouldn't have a voice. We wouldn't be able to tell you about what's up in Kansas City without financial support. So I throw that out there. Mr. Nelson never asked me to say that, but I just know how important it is because I've seen other media outlets. They can frame what they want to frame. And I can tell you firsthand because I've been involved in some incidents. I would tell them the accurate information, talk 10 minutes, and they give you the 30 seconds that make you look bad so they can get clicks and those kind of things. So let's support our Black-owned digital media outlet and stay strong and do what's right. Let's support our chief. I know Chief Graves will welcome any comments, whether positive or negative. Just help us grow and not be negative and not believe everything that you see in the media because it's twisted sometimes. Probably more times than you want to believe or I want to believe. But I've been in this deal 37 years, and I've watched how media responds to some things. We have some media outlets that, and I won't say they're the channels or whatever, that I've never had a problem with. But then there's some that just they don't report the news. They try to create the news and try to put little spins on things. So just be smart for yourself. Come to board meetings, the police department. If you want to be engaged, if you don't want to physically come, they have a means to watch it on YouTube. Just get engaged so you understand what's going on and what's happening in our community. So thank you again. You all be safe. And I want to throw my number out before I close. My personal cell number is 816-492-1076. Be safe, and I'll see y'all soon.
This is brought to you by the Black Economic Union, located at 1601 East 18th Street, Kansas City, Missouri.